This episode is powered by Poddex. Poddex are unique interview questions and episode starting prompts in the palm of your hand. So whether you're a new podcaster or existing broadcaster looking to grow your audience or get more engagement, you're going to want to check out poddex.com. Use code CinemaGold for 10% off your first order.
Welcome to the Cinema Gold Podcast with your host, Larry Leese. Come join us as Cinema Gold dives into the latest Hollywood films and news.
Hello and welcome to the Cinema Gold Podcast. I'm your host, Larry Leese, and we're going to talk about the ongoing streaming wars. In this time of crisis and uncertainty, people are often choosing to cope with their anxieties by enjoying their favorite TV shows and movies. In today's episode, we will be talking about streaming while in quarantine. So far, it appears that OTT streaming is reaching more people than ever. While the doctors and nurses are on the front lines of this pandemic, slowing the spread and flattening the curve, the rest of us are being encouraged and required to stay home. Given this scenario, I think it's worth taking a look how this crisis is affecting the TV experience. Decades ago, families would gather around the TV at the same time every week to watch a show together. Now, TV is available on the go, streaming on smartphones, tablets, so that viewers can watch their favorite shows anywhere, anytime. And we all know, with new technology and a push towards new forms of entertainment, TV will continue to transform into a personalized experience unlike anything we've ever seen. Speaking to the core, this new reality forced television companies to create OTT products in order to reach viewers where they want to be reached. Thus, Disney Plus, HBO, CBS All Access, soon to be Paramount Plus, Fox Nation, and an unnamed upcoming product by NBC Universal's Peacock was introduced, and in the near future, they'll be competing with digital disruptors like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime Video, and the recently launched Apple TV Plus. This has led to the decline of the cable television bundle. However, it may return in digital form, and cable companies are making just as much money selling internet access as they previously did selling access to television channels. What sets the scene for every other change to the future of TV is the growth of streaming and on-demand services. Customers will no longer wait around for their show to air at a certain time, but instead will be able to watch what they want, when they want. The rise in streaming services, including specialized services that only stream one network's content, such as NBC Peacock or Disney Plus, forces services to compete on experience and catalog. Today, there are nearly 300 streaming services available in the U.S., focusing on everything from telenovelas to horror movies and even content targeted at equestrians. The switch to streaming is the catalyst for many changes. To start, streaming removes the middleman of movie theaters or cable system operators and connects customers directly with entertainment companies. Streaming and on-demand allows customers to watch whatever they want, whenever they want, and wherever they are. The flexibility of schedule and device opens doors to consumers and gives them power over their TV viewing. Streaming services also tend to be less expensive than traditional cable subscriptions, which is a huge draw for consumers. However, the rise of streaming is overwhelming to many consumers, with nearly 50% of consumers saying they are frustrated by the growing number of subscription services required to watch the content they want. As more streaming services enter the market and the libraries become diluted, customers will have to subscribe to multiple services, which can lead to higher spending and hurt the overall experience. I, for one, can attest to that. I'm subscribed to, I don't even know how many services now. On average, Americans subscribe to 3 paid streaming services, spending an average of $37 per month. Yeah, I know my cost is more, towards probably $80 or $90 a month. That's a huge jump from just 3 years ago when the majority of Americans only paid for one streaming service, which was almost always Netflix. In the future, expect both the numbers of services and the total cost per customer to increase. But as streaming services grow in popularity, They are also playing with fire, as consumers could get burnt out on new services. Just ask Quibi, which shut down after only 6 months. One thing for sure is that the growth of streaming services is the downfall of traditional cable. The annual pace of subscriber decline recently hit an astonishing low 5.4%. If cable hopes to survive, it has to revamp its offerings to stay competitive. Future TV will be an immersive experience for viewers. Instead of simply watching something happen on their screens, viewers will participate in the show and have a chance to interact and potentially impact the outcome of the show. Now let us have a look at the coin that is outside the board, virtual reality. Virtual reality will also allow viewers to step into a show and watch as if they are there themselves. Facebook, Google, and Microsoft, among other companies, have developed VR technology that will become mainstream in coming years. With VR glasses, viewers could virtually transport themselves into any show, which opens up a new world of possibilities for marketers and entertainment companies. And right now we're going to take a short break. We'd like to take this time to thank our sponsor Hulu for supporting this show. Right now Hulu is offering a special for college students at just $1.99 per month. Hulu is home to thousands of hours of quality television and movies. You can sign up today by going to cinema-gold.com/Hulu deal. Coming back to our topic, Netflix has already experimented with interactive content, such as Black Mirror, where users' choices affected the dialogue and plot. Similarly, several Netflix shows act as a choose-your-own-adventure type show, where viewers are given options to shape their journey and affect potential endings. The growth of streaming has forced TV to become more personalized, meaning that consumers can get exactly what they want without anything extra. In the future, customers will be able to create their own packages instead of only having a few pre-selected options. It's just one way for broadcast TV to compete with streaming services. Now comes the role of algorithms. Netflix and Hulu use strong algorithms and collect huge amounts of data to provide accurate recommendations to customers, meaning that viewers are becoming used to having the exact viewing preferences catered to instead of paying for superfluous content that doesn't apply to them. TV will become extremely personalized based on data that is collected about nearly every aspect of a consumer's viewing tendencies. Each person's Hulu's home screen looks different depending on their watch history, demographics, and preferences. Hulu uses data to choose not only what is highlighted, but also the order in which certain collections are displayed. A user that watches predominantly true crime documentaries will likely have those type of shows featured first, followed by related dramas, with animated comedies far down the list. But the order will be drastically different for someone with different viewing preferences. Data will help create smart content, which is affected by who is seeing or watching it. Smart content changes based on who you are and your user preferences. During the aftermath, Netflix is seeing massive traffic increases. Netflix traffic has reached all-time high to the point that it started to reduce its overall bandwidth consumption in Europe to help avoid overloading the infrastructure of the internet. According to the studies done by Imperial Capital Analysts, shows that Netflix is ideally well positioned to benefit from the recent trend of sheltering in place, and he expects that Netflix could add 100,000 subscribers in the market of US, Canada, and Australia, along with 7 million international subscribers during the first quarter of 2020. Hovering over the statistics, Netflix is showing higher app downloads in markets that have been hit hardest by the pandemic. Both Hong Kong and South Korea are showing significant increases in demand for Netflix. Since January 1st, first-time app downloads of Netflix have doubled in Hong Kong and increased by 33% in South Korea. This is a strong sign that Netflix could have significant staying power through the pandemic, as it is expanding its market share among new users of OTT streaming services. It doesn't appear that people are cutting back on their Netflix subscriptions during times of economic uncertainty. With so many schools closed and millions of children stuck at home, Disney Plus has emerged as the go-to streaming service for families with young children. This is great news for the Mouse House, which has had to shut down its theme parks and delay the theatrical releases of their recent movies. Disney has more than tripled the number of signups between March 14th and March 16th, 2020, compared to the same period during the previous week. Digging deep into the statistics, we can see that Disney Plus is finding success as a family-friendly streaming service. By midway through the first quarter of 2020, nearly 50% of U.S. households with children under age 10 and 42% of all households with children 18 and under had already subscribed to Disney Plus. In uncertain times, more families are likely to take comfort in the Disney Plus catalog of classic kids' movies and cartoons, along with new hits like Star Wars and Mandalorian. But with the rising trend of OTT platforms, the question here is, does the streaming market still have room to grow? Before the coronavirus outbreak, it was looking like the golden age of streaming, and peak TV was at risk of coming to an end, with too many big players competing for market share. But this new requirement to shelter in place might be the impetus for another shot of growth. In China, usage of streaming apps increased significantly in early February. If the same trend holds true for other markets, we could see additional consumer adoption of OTT services and additional room in the market for newcomer streaming services. People might get used to paying for a few extra subscriptions per month. Long-time holdouts might finally decide to try streaming, and this time of quarantine binge watching could be a surprise driver of additional growth for this entire industry. Obviously, these are very scary, unprecedented times. We are all hoping to minimize its pandemic damage to our communities and our economy. We're also grateful for the heroes on the front lines in our hospitals and for everyone working in the human supply chain to make sure we can all keep eating and enjoying the comforts of life at home. But in addition to the heroic work of essential workers, there's also something very worthwhile about the work of our media and entertainment industry. Now more than ever, people need some laughs, some levity, some comforting distractions, and moments of community. OTT streaming is going to continue to be a huge part of our future long after we're done sheltering in place. With that being said, we've reached the end of today's episode. I'd love to hear back from you about the reviews and suggestions. You can send me a tweet at CinemaGold2. Put a comment on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/CinemaGold. Catch you tomorrow with an all-new episode. Till then, stay safe and stay tuned.
Thank you for listening to the Cinema Gold Podcast. If you want to become a supporter, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/CinemaGold. Follow us on Twitter at CinemaGold2 and like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/CinemaGoldMovies.